Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakar Kodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect. And just want to get into a quick lesson on this article I have found where it says Trump cancels nuclear summit despite Kim doing everything he promised. This is Vladimir Putin expressed regret that Donald Trump canceled his summit with Kim Jong-un despite Yang doing everything it was asked for and expressing hope that the U.S.-North Korea nuclear talks will take place eventually. Here in Russia, we took this news with regret because we were very much anticipating a significant step to be taken to de-escalate the situation of the Korean Peninsula that will become the beginning of the process of denuclearization of the entire Korean Peninsula, Putin said after talks with his French President Vladimir Emmanuel Macron in St. Petersburg on Thursday. So here it is. You have, these other world powers, one being Russia, is looking at America and the way they move, man. And it says that they regret because they were anticipating basically the peace talks between America and North Korea. So it says North Korea leader Kim Jong-un has done everything he previously promised. He even blew up the tunnels and mines at the Pyongyang nuclear test site. And after that, we learned of the cancellation of the meeting by the U.S., he said. We hope that dialogue will be resumed and this meeting will take place, the Russian leader added, saying that denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula will never be achieved without Trump and Kim sitting together. Putin also promised that Moscow and other international players will be jointly working to bring the stances of the U.S. and North Korea closer together. But let's see what the scriptures have to say about that, man. Because here it is. You have on one hand where these nations actually want to, keep the peace. Nobody wants to have war. All right. But as scriptures say in James, the 2nd chapter, how the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. All right. He turneth, and you get that as well, man. It talks about in, just got a lot of scriptures ringing in my head now. Let me see. Try to find it. James 4, Slakia. James 4 and 17. This matters by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and he giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set up over it the basis of men. Talking about Esau Edom. He set Esau Edom up over the whole earth, man. And this world, as we know, is moving according to prophecy, according to the words of the Most High. So here it is. You have these other nations who want to, maintain a peace in the world. All right, but the scriptures say the Most High is a man of war. All right, and we not in rulership, man. So all these things must come to pass so that Israel, all right, and most importantly, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai can receive their name back in the earth. There's another one in Proverbs. I think it was, let me see. Damn, scriptures, man, I'm forgetting. See the heart of the king. Slocky. I thought it was in Proverbs. Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So you're gonna have, like right now, and in recent times, you had where these nations, they were at peace and then they went to war. So we had World War I and World War II. It is no different than that with World War III. Which World War I and World War II crippled those economies, man. And it's going to do the same thing with World War III. But back to the point of the lesson is that the Most High is going to pull these nations back to go against America, not to try to make peace with America. So it's let me see. Here in Russia, we took this news with regret because we very much anticipating a significant step to be taken to de-escalate the situation on the Korean Peninsula that will become the beginning of the process of the nuclearization of the entire Korean Peninsula, Putin said after talks with his French President Emmanuel Macron in St. Petersburg on Thursday. North Korea leader Kim Jong-un has done everything he previously promised. He even blew up the tunnels and mines at the Pyongyang nuclear test site, and after that we learned of the cancellation of the meeting by the U.S., he said. We hope that dialogue will be resumed and this meeting will take place, the Russian leader added, saying that the nuclearization of the Korean Peninsula will never be achieved without Trump and Kim sitting together. So here it is, these other nations, which just extrapolating, they're looking at the moves of America and seeing, well, all right, maybe America is trying to, promote peace, which they're not, because the scriptures say the third war coming quickly. Revelation the 11th chapter. So the Most High wants to push this third war. All right. Putin also promised that Moscow and other international players will be jointly working to bring the stances of the U.S. and North Korea close together. And this also proves of how these other nations are gonna stop messing with America. Here it is, you just had in the past 2 weeks that Trump pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal. All right, what these other nations are highly upset about, man. And it messed up it not only messed up America's relationship with Iran, but it messed up America's relationship with France, Germany, these other nations, Russia, that were in cahoots with the Iran nuclear deal. And now Iran not only doesn't trust America, but they don't trust those other nations, man. So yeah, man, we see even how the scriptures say basically how that strength that the whore will have, man. And the fact of basically how America moves. It's lucky. I'm gonna just keep reading. I lost my train of thought. This is the much anticipated meeting of the U.S. and Korean leaders was scheduled to take place in Singapore on June 12th, but Trump issued a statement on Thursday saying that he was calling the talks off based on the tremendous anger and open hostility. So also goes to show you that this guy Trump, all right, is a psychopath, which all Edomites really are psychopaths, man. But here it is, you have on one hand, this guy Kim Jong-un is clearly showing you that he's for peace, all right? But these guys are for war, man. It's a response to continue American, let me see, who recently threatened the U.S. with a nuclear showdown. It's like, I'm going to start from the beginning of the sentence. But Trump issued a statement on Thursday saying that he was calling the talks off based on the tremendous anger and open hostility from Kim, who recently threatened the U.S. with a nuclear showdown in response to continued American drills near the North Korean border. The American announcement was made just hours after Pyongyang blew up its Pyongyang nuclear test site, as witnessed by RT's Igor Zandanov, who was part of a journalist pool in North Korea. All right. So here it is. There's actually evidence that, North Korea was following through, all right, with the denuclearization deal, so to speak. Hey, I got another one I want to just hop into real quick. All right. It says Trump, key U.S. allies perplexed as Trump treats friends like enemies. It says President Donald Trump declares to cancel his historic meeting with North Korea's Kim Jong-un left South Korea president perplexed. So I can read it again. President Donald Trump's decision to cancel his historic meeting with North Korea's Kim Jong-un left South Korea's president perplexed and sparked angry protests in Seoul. One sign read, "We condemn Trump. Welcome to life these days as a close U.S. ally." Under the 45th president, long-standing U.S. friends and partners have come in for surprises, some of them bruising. Trump has questioned enduring alliances, insulted neighbors, threatened tariffs against some of America's oldest friends, and made clear he'll sanction their businesses if they don't toe his line. So, hey, this is beautiful, man. Because as we started off the lesson of how the Most High is pushing these other nations to go against America, man. He's pushing these other nations to be in that World War III, all right, mind state, man. As a matter of fact, the Lord said this in Ezekiel the 38th chapter. Hey, brothers know where I'm going with this. Ezekiel 38:1, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, which is Russia, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord power. So this the Most High said, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth, and all thine armies, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. So it's not prophetic for these nations to be at peace, but rather for them to be at war. When the Most High says, I'm gonna put hooks in thy jaws. Basically, I'm gonna turn you against America, and I'm gonna put that warlike spirit back within you. It says, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shield, all of them handling swords. All right, then it goes into basically how the Most High is going to put it in their spirit to prepare war. All right, and they're gonna get together with these different nations, Persia, Iran, which we see to this day, Ethiopia, Libya, these different African nations, Gomer, Turkey. All right, and they come together against who? Babylon. And they're already in cahoots with China, which basically, under the Brits nation. So we see how all of this is coming together, man. A lot of times in the scriptures, basically all the time in the scriptures, you'll have it to where America, or as the scriptures call it, the virgin daughter of Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, where they were well favored in the eyes of these other nations. All right, but there's gonna come a time where the Most High is gonna turn all these. He's basically gonna put a hook in all these nations, jaws, so to speak, to go against America. Another example of that we always get is Obadiah, the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 7, which the book of Obadiah is a beautiful book because the whole book goes into the destruction of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. So it says, Obadiah chapter 1, verse 6, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? One being through these news sources, which through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, we dissect through the scriptures. So this is how the things of Esau are searched out. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Which goes to show you that it has to come a point in time Well, I'm just continue to read. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and have prevailed against thee, that they eat thy bread. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. All right, so it's gonna come out of nowhere, where the Most High is gonna turn these other nations against America. You know, I brought out the example of the Iran nuclear deal, man. And that's just one of the many examples of where it shows that America cannot be trusted. You know, hey, them Middle Eastern nations been seeing that, man, and they seeing it more and more each day. You know, as America bombs Syria and blames it on Bashar al-Assad, man. All right, or how they put Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, knowing that it'll start war over there. They know this, man. This is why previous presidents, which they been could have did it, but they didn't do it because they knew it would start war, man. Was going to show you that we are in a time of war, man. Under the 45th president, this is under the 45th president, long-standing U.S. friends and partners have come in for surprises, some of them bruising. Trump has questioned enduring alliances, insulted neighbors, threatened tariffs against some of America's oldest friends, and made clear he'll sanction their businesses if they don't toe his line. Trump's allies say this is the president's peace through strength doctrine at work, where America flexes its military and economic muscles to shape the world it wants. Okay, it's a theme Trump warned to Friday in Annapolis, telling U.S. Naval Academy graduates that the world is respecting us again. A theme he stressed in his first State of the Union address, declaring that weakness is the surest path to conflict and unmatched power is the surest means of our defense. Hey, so that's that stout look. You know what I'm saying? That America, man, that's that stout look, man, that the Most High is giving to Trump. Giving to America. All right, but when you're going back into Obadiah, all right, and Proverbs 16, I think. But when you going back, Slaki, also when you go back into Obadiah, the Most High said, "What? I know thy pride, man, and these other nations hate thee because of thy pride, man." Let's grab it. Since I'm already there, Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that say in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? So that's what with this statement, Trump is saying, who shall bring me down to the ground? All right, and it's spiritual, man, because the Most High is putting Trump in here. All right, basically bringing his own self down, man. All right, with that pride, man, thinking that nobody can stop him, man, that you will follow us, man. And at one point, the nations did follow America with no problem, man. But now it's getting tense to where, the shit that you're doing is going to bring us to war, man. All right. It says a theme he stressed in his first State of the Union address, declaring that weakness is the surest path to conflict. Going back to Obadiah 1 and 3, and unmatched power is the surest means of our defense. All right. And the scriptures say what? Pride goeth before destruction. It is. Trump is the epitome of pride, man. Everything he does, man, he just does it, man. He doesn't care about, who it will offend as far as tariffs on China, which China owns most of his debt. All right, he doesn't care about none of that, man. It said we're dragging, Slaki, but there are other forces at work that are shifting the ground on U.S. relationships around the world, including the president's personality, his campaign promises, and the overwhelming weight he places on domestic politics. We're dragging you along. Trump's relationships with allies are preternaturally, Salaki, different than any other administration we've had, said Aaron David Miller, a senior vice president at the Wilson Center. The threats to sanction allies aren't so much a case of if you're not with us, you're against us, said Susan Maloney, deputy director of the foreign policy program at the Brookings Institution. This is the administration saying you're with us even if you don't want to be with us. We're dragging you along. All right? And that's how we know America is that great whore, man. That sitteth upon many waters. You know? This is written of Revelation, the 17th chapter. This is beautiful, man. It says critics have said Trump's mercurial decision making. Let's look up that word mercurial. Oh, Slock, I forgot I was offline. Trump's mercurial decision making on international issues and his treatment of allies are undermining U.S. interests and trust in Washington. Representative Elliot Engel of New York, the ranking Democrat on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, pointed to Trump's decision Thursday to pull out of the North Korea summit and said the president has alienated our friends, doubted the value of our alliances, and undermined American credibility around the world. He and others point to a January Gallup poll that found the image of U.S. leadership is weaker and global approval of the U.S. has sunk to a record low of 30%. That is 18 percentage points lower than the last year of President Barack Obama's tenure and 4 points beneath the previous record low during the President George W. Bush administration. So this is beautiful, man. You know? Hey. The Lord said what? I will bring thee down, man. Obadiah 1 and 4. Though thou exaltest thyself as an eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. So the Most High is bringing this place down, man. Quick. You know? And it's the vision of the scriptures, like I said, man. Revelations 18 and 6. Reward her even as she had rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. You know? And these other nations are looking at America like, as the piece of shit that she is, man. And the cup which she have filled to her double. How much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine. You know, so that prize is reaching up there to the Heavenly Father, man. You know? And the Most High said for that, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. You know? Hey, so with that, the Most High is coming. Hey, that third world war is a nuclear war. It will happen, according to scriptures. All right, and the Most High is going to use these other nations to do so. Hey, so with that, shalom to the elect.